with Boko Haram insurgents on the rampage in the northeast and bandits running amok, more or less, in the northwest, the last thing the Nigerian government will seem to need is a secessionist war on its hands. In view of the security crisis, many Nigerians believe that President Muhammadu Buhari must change his tactics in the handling of rising insecurity in the southeast, where the killing of policemen by unidentified gunmen and arsonist attacks on offices of the Independent National Electoral Commission have assumed a frightening dimension. As we explore alternative measures in response to the tension in the southeast, Senate Minority Leader Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe is here with us from our Abuja studio to discuss what needs to be done by government and other stakeholders to name the regional crisis in the bud. Welcome to the show, Senator Abaribe. Good morning.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Nigerians.
Yes, Senator, it's very good to have you here. Two quick issues in the last few days. First, 6 years of the Buhari administration. The minority caucus in the House of Reps issued a statement through, I think, Honorable Ndidi Ilumelu to say that the House of Reps minority caucus disagrees with all the achievements of the administration that have been publicized by Femi Adesina and Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed. What's the position of the minority caucus in the Senate? I don't think I've read anything about that, although I've seen a statement by the PDP in that regard. And then what do we make of the situation in the Southeast? The lockdown, the role of IPOB, and the response by the federal government. Those two issues in the last few days.
Well, let me say, first of all, that the minority caucus in the Senate are on the same page with the minority caucus in the House. We actually worked together, and when they were sending out that statement, they sent it to me, and I reviewed it, and I told them that we're on the same page with them. So you can make the assumption that we also in the Senate minority caucus do not agree with the federal government on the purported achievements. With regard to the what's going on in the Southeast and the response of Mr. President. Ruben, let me just say this. Well, somebody was discussing with me and said, you know, why don't we tell Mr. President something, that the language that the Igbos understand, that we can let him know the language. And I want to share it with Nigerians. The language that Igbos understand, actually, is Abaribe Obiadeyama. In the days when we had polygamy that is rife, when you treat every wife the same way you treat all of them, they will be happy. In other words, treat me as you would want to treat every other person. It is this imbalance in treatment, this unjust treatment of people, that is leading to this whole, I would say, response by violence. But I can say one thing. The Southeast Caucus, both in the House and in the Senate, we issued a statement a couple of days ago. And what we said was that we totally condemn the violence that is enveloping us in the Southeast. No, none of us supports the raging violence there, the killing of policemen, the destruction and the burning of government offices, INEC, courts, and so forth. None of us supports it. We know, and we know that you can only get what you want by negotiation, and that you're not going to get it through a violent means. But another thing that we also know is that the response that we're getting from the federal government does not seem to us to be a response that is calculated to douse tension and bring peace. When you threaten to visit on people depredations of a civil war, what type of message are you sending out? We expect Mr. President, as the father of the nation, to be able to embrace everybody. But you see, we have always seen this pattern. And this pattern is that it doesn't matter what happens elsewhere. Anytime anything happens in the Southeast, it is when the president comes out and with this and says, we will crush you, we will do this, or we will do that. And we think that that is not not a way to go. If you go to the airport, and if you're coming from the airport in Abuja, you will see this big banner with a very beautiful photograph of Mr. President, and that banner says, Baba for all. So, if Baba, rather than being for all, is for some people, and then for the Southeast, you tell them that I will deal with you. I don't think that people in the Southeast are going to be very, very happy about that. And that is what we see. As for the root cause of what is leading to all this, we have consistently said it over the years, and that has always been that the root of everything is justice. If you do not give people justice, the impression will always be created in the minds of those from the Southeast that they are being seen as people from a different place. Let's just put it that way. Because I remember that when we started shouting about the incursion of the herdsmen, the killer herdsmen coming into Nigeria, and coming down south to Benue Plateau, and there's so much killings and all that. And we continue shouting, what's going on? And we were always being given very different reasons for which we should accommodate foreigners. And we couldn't understand it. And I remember that on the floor of the Senate, we all condemned it, and condemned it not just by those from the Southeast, but everyone. And so at this moment, where things have gotten to this point, to now see that it's only one part of the country, the Southeast, that is going to be visited with the might of the federal government, makes all of us, well, say that we could find a better way and a better path. And the only way we can do it is engagement with the people. We must engage. When the Southern governors met, they said, try to engage. Everybody has been saying, try to engage. When we're still waiting for that engagement.
Well, I was explaining the situation, the position of Igbos in Nigeria to a foreign friend of mine, and I used the phrase stepchildren is how Igbos are treated. So it's funny you should mention polygamy. I took it to a different level. But I want to play devil's advocate here and ask you if you feel personally threatened by what the president said as an Igbo man, or if he was actually referring, if that tough talk was targeted specifically at criminals causing unrest in the Southeast, because those are the people making Igbo women widows and Igbo children orphans when they go and murder police officers and murder innocent, peace-loving Igbos trying to just get along with their lives.
Well, also in playing devil's advocate, let me also play the reverse to you. Was any threat made to all people in the Northeast, with all the killings going on there? Was there any threat made to the people, even in the president's own state of Katsina with all the killings and banditry and everything going on there? None. So why the Southeast? That is the question that we always want to ask. And I think really that let me also use another adage in Igbo. The world view of the Igbo is Egbe bere, ugo bere. Let the eagle and the hawk perch together. Let no one tell the other don't perch. And that has always been our feeling. Now, Igbos are the most widely traveled people that you know. And we also have an ethos, and that is Ojembe Enwe Iro. We cannot be angry with people because we also go out everywhere. So when this type of, I would say, personalization of the angst, what it tells us is something. And with all due respect, it just makes every Igbo feel, including myself, that somehow, when there's a big problem in Nigeria and you need to resolve it, use the Igbo head to resolve that problem. That's that. But let me tell you one other thing that I'm very, very happy about. And that is, when the Minister of Justice made the unfortunate statement about spare part traders, you saw Nigerians all come out and say, I'm a spare part trader. And that, of course, gladdened everybody's mind. When the unfortunate statement that was credited to Mr. President also came out, you could also see Nigerians come out and say, I am Igbo. In other words, we have transcended those artificial boundaries that they use before to demonize a particular group of people. And so we are happy that Nigerians are all coming together. Nigerians are all seeing that what is here is not the Igbo problem. That what is here is a criminal syndicate going around all parts of the country, and the government needs to unravel it. If a criminal burns a police station or kills, and then you do nothing, and then you now go and arrest every villager that you see on the street, which is what is going on in the Southeast, you cannot be resolving the issue. What you're actually doing is that you're letting everybody know that it is us versus them, which is not a very good way of building unity in the country. So we, in our statement, now said, let the Inspector General of Police and the other security agencies conduct in-depth investigations, bring people, try them, not to just round up youths that you see, conduct extrajudicial killings, and then say that, oh, you have resolved the issue. You don't. You actually push it on the ground, and it continues to fester. So we have been calling and calling for an engagement, a civil engagement that will resolve the issues bedeviling the country.
Okay, Senator, thank you so much for your time. You've been calling for a civil engagement, and everybody have been talking about that civil engagement. You stood as surety for Nnamdi Kanu. Have you called on him too for this civil engagement? And have you called on, other people in here, the Igbo elders? Have you called on your constituency in the Senate from other parts, for all of us to come together to have this civil engagement? Because you see, as it is now in Nigeria, we all need to be statesmen. That's the way forward. It's our country. We can have narrative and counter-narrative. It will not take us anywhere. So how can we all sit down on the table and become statesmen, which means rising beyond any hate or hurt or bigotry that we might have had before?
Rotus, let me put it this way. In the past few weeks, we have had engagements among ourselves, among the those of us in the National Assembly, the governors, the clergy, and we have all reached out to all the people around who we can engage with to say, this is the time for us to de-escalate. You do not, like we say in Igbo land, ana agba, ana alu ogu n'usoku, you don't fight in your kitchen because you're either going to break bottles or you break pots and pans and all that. We cannot visit this on ourselves. And that is part of the problems that we have. If there is no in-depth investigation to find out who actually is instigating this violence there, merely just pushing it on one side. Of course, we know that all manners of actors will come in when there is problems and confusion everywhere. We have tried to reach out to, including Nnamdi Kanu himself and all that, and saying, this cannot be the way to go. We are all done that, and we're doing it, and we will continue to do it. I have personally met with officials of the government and also all my own brothers and sisters, and we have all come out to say, no, violence is not the way.
Senator,
we should find
Senator,
a way
quickly,
of resolving it.
I want to
Yes.
get this specifically. Have you reached out to Nnamdi Kanu? Have you called him up? Do you have conversations with him as regards this? If for anything, about rhetoric, about what is coming out there, about de-escalation? Have you had a conversation with him? We just want to know, Senator.
I don't have any conversation with Nnamdi Kanu. I don't have that, I would say, privilege. What I do is that I go through his lawyers to tell him, this is what we think. And we have been trying to reach out to him. And so he has gotten information from us to say, no, this is not the way to go. We also, look, the people who die, they are also fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters of people. People who get killed, they also have widows, they also have children, they have, and when people get killed, I don't really look around to know whether the person is Igbo or Ijaw or whatever. All manners of people get killed, and that cannot be the way forward. And we have done so.
Well, Senator, very quickly, people are already reacting to this conversation we are having with you, and I've seen one or two comments here. But first, one concern is that, yes, you are saying that the president is targeting the Southeast, but somebody sent in a message saying, but it is precisely in the Southeast that you are having a lockdown enforced by non-state actors. It is in the Southeast that you have had majorly attacks on INEC facilities and cases of assassination and indications of anarchy, that should the president just fold his hands. And in any case, somebody also sent a message that you should be asked the question that, look, Senator Abaribe, yes, you stood surety for Nnamdi Kanu, 500 million naira bond. And that person who sent that message was asking, have you paid that bond? But my own question now, after reacting to those reactions, my own question is this. In January 2020, a year ago, you called for the resignation of President Muhammadu Buhari. You argued on the floor of the Senate that his inability to deal with the security situation in Nigeria had reached a point that he should resign. Do you still hold that position today, or you have shifted position?
Okay, so let me start from this one, the first one you talked about. I don't think I'm the only person who has done so. Even people from, I think the Northern Elders Forum or whoever, I saw them, people from the West, people from everywhere, have come and said, resign. I think that attributing it to me is no longer, you would just say that I foresaw that there was a difficulty in doing the work of, what is actually the work of Mr. President. The job of a president is actually to lead us towards, I would say, better welfare, better prosperity, everything. And to be able to wield the diverse parts of Nigeria together. So if you find it very difficult to mismanage the diversity of the country, that is where we now have all these problem. Secondly, on the Nnamdi Kanu matter, at every point that I come to a television station, the very first thing that comes, oh, you stood shorty. Everybody forgets that this was a legal requirement for his bail. It was ordered by a judge saying a senator, and I was chairman of Southeast Senators Forum. And so I had to step up to the. So when people now make this mischievous comment to say, why, so you stood bail, did they expect that no senator from the Southeast will be able to stand? Oh, was that the thinking? I don't think so. I think a judge just made a prevail, and then we stepped up. As for whether I paid or not, I think that's a legal matter that the courts are handling. And we are in the appeal court now, and the matter is going on. I think that really, instead of having an honest conversation about the problem of Nigeria, usually people bring in extraneous factors, and the extraneous factors now tend to dominate the conversation. The conversation here is simple. We are having an existential problem in Nigeria. And when you have this type of problem, statesmen come together to say, how do we resolve these issues? And all that we have said is, can we all come and even have a conversation on it? And at any time you say that, there is always this, I would say, fallback position. And the fallback position comes from the fact, this is my own thinking, that there is a rush to protect Mr. President from anybody asking any question, as if it's not a constitutional democracy. That is just the point. And so when questions are asked, the reaction is that you ought not to even ask questions. If we had a monarchy, maybe that may have been better. But I'm the minority leader of the Senate, and automatically that confers on me the fact that I should be able to question the policies of government, the direction of government, the way that the president conducts the affairs of the government. That is my role. And when you try to do that, what you now see is all these brickbats coming from right, left, and center. That is not a democracy. A democracy means that you should be able to say, this path that we're going is not the right path. I think that there's an alternative path we can go, and you can try to go through that alternative path, you know. And I don't, I actually feel very sorry for the ministers and all those people who have to come out and always haul insults on us. The reason is that they have to also protect their jobs. And so they think that doing their job is by making sure that nobody talks. So we now have a situation where some people feel that we should be the three monkeys, deaf, dumb, and blind. That cannot be.
I'd like to specifically raise the issue of the fires, the arson attacks on INEC offices and facilities in the Southeast in quick succession. You know, it's clearly an attack on our democracy at a time where it's hoped now more than ever that a critical mass will be reached for an Igbo, well, a president of Igbo extraction, as they like to put it, in the media. Do you have any insights into the perpetrators and their motives?
Well, somebody has suggested, suppose these attacks being done in quick succession in Igbo land is meant to scuttle the proposal for an Igbo presidency. I hope you can also look at it from that perspective. So we don't know. And what we have been saying, and which I said that we first condemned, and we said try to fish out some people, try to investigate, try to hold some people, and now do a thorough investigation, bring them out, and then we know who is doing this, who their sponsors are, and why they are doing it. Every point that we see is, oh, something has just happened, and then there's a blanket statement saying, oh, it is this set of people. Yet, none have been gotten and tried. Civil engagement, civil rule says investigate, apprehend, and try the people. That will unveil this seeming thing going on. And I don't think that there is any Igbo man that will support the burning and the descent of INEC office. Nobody will do that. I do not. And I know that my colleagues don't. We have spoken with each other, we have discussed it, and we have all come out. And we have been talking, and we are still talking with everybody around about that. And what we do is this. We don't do investigations. We continue to call on the authorities that do the investigations, the police, the DSS, and all that. Can you get these people and make sure that they are tried? That will now unravel all these plots going on. There are so many conspiracy theories, and one of it is just what I told you. Suppose it is meant to make sure that when our people come out and say, we want to be president, how can you be president when you people have been making sure that there will be no elections in your place? So, I mean, we don't know. And I have to tell you, Tundu, we want answers too, just like you want answers.
Still speaking and sort of like segueing from where Tundu stopped, Dr. Eziefe, former governor of Anambra State, was here yesterday, was on this platform, the Arise News Night, and he kept on saying that the attacks going on is to discredit people from the Southeast. That was the slant of his conversation yesterday. And somebody wonders, like you say, there are many layers to it. Could it even be political? Why is it that there's a concentration of this in Imo State, all of a sudden? Some people are even asking, is this not the same Imo State that Ihedioha was there for quite a while? It was peaceful as anything, and all of a sudden, a new governor comes in, then there's contestation. So what is really happening? Because there are many layers of this, if you keep peeling all the bulbs of this political onion going on in the Southeast, we seem not to be able to get to the end of it.
Well, I think your guess is as good as mine. Whatever I say here will be mere speculation. But I do not believe, and I repeat, I do not believe that our security agencies are incapable of getting to the root of this. I do not believe that. I think they can. I think it is possible. And we can deploy all manners of assets to use to be able to get to the root of this. And the sooner it's done, the better for each and every one of us.
I mean, why Igbo, like I asked earlier on? Why is it that there's a big blowback in Imo State? Why? Could it be because of the political fight?
I have no idea why.
Yeah.
Well,
well, that would be speculation. Like I said, that would be speculation.
Senator Abaribe, well, I see that a lot of
I don't want to speculate.
I see that a lot of people are interested in this conversation. Someone just sent me another message now and said, well, you were very critical of President Buhari's statement yesterday, but that you need to be reminded that the president also much earlier, before now, declared a shoot-on-sight order against herdsmen in the northwest and bandits in the northwestern part of the country. I don't know what you say to that, but from the comment you just made, are you suggesting that the violence in the Southeast is state-sponsored? Because you kept talking about conspiracy theories. So are you saying that it is state-sponsored?
I'm saying that we should leave our options open until we are able to get to the root of it. And nothing should be taken out of the table. Because we have also, during the Abacha era, also seen state-sponsored things happening. If you remember, Ruben, because you were in Lagos then, as part of what was going on then. But going beyond that, the reason why the Southeast got especially worried with Mr. President is that we had suffered the devastation of war. And so, when someone that we regard as our father now tries to remind us of what was done to us, naturally, we should be very, very, very worried about it. They should aside all that. Assuming that Mr. President had just said, we will not tolerate this, what is going on in the Southeast, and that we are telling everybody, no, that no more, if we get you with that, nobody will talk. But to now say, oh, these children, let me also say this. The children that you refer to, as much as they don't remember the Civil War, they also know what justice is. They know what equity is. They know what inequality means. And so, if you want to put out fire, you deprive it of oxygen, because oxygen that makes that fire burn. And so, what is the oxygen that is making all these fires burn? Once you do that, then you will not have any reason to have anybody want to feel that they should be disengaged from the Nigerian project. That's just what is going on.
Yes, indeed. Now, if we have a distant paterfamilias, what about your siblings, your brothers in the Southeast? I made this point on the show a couple of days ago, that why did the Southeast governors fail to sort of fill that gap left by the federal government? As far as I'm concerned, something like the Biafra Remembrance Day should be a federal holiday. It is not. But nothing stops the Southeast governors from making it a federal state holiday in that zone, similar to what the Southwest governors did with June 12th before the federal government finally caught up and arrived at the party years later. Why has that not happened? Because nature abhors a vacuum. What the governors failed to do, you have a person like Nnamdi Kanu, who then stepped up to the plate and did it, and then issued a death threat to whoever, flouts the stay-at-home order, which we all know is not ideal. What is the role of the Southeast governors in fostering this sense of harmony and sense of belonging and sense of dignity, quite frankly, in the Southeast region?
Tundun, there's a saying in our place that says, that when you wake up, it's your morning.
At the end of this program,
so, yesterday,
sorry to interrupt you, at the end of this program, I'm going to do an index of all the Igbo proverbs today. Because this is about the sixth one. But it's okay, please carry on.
Yesterday, I read somewhere, the chairman of the Governors Forum, Dave Umahi of Ebonyi, saying that they will now start to celebrate the May 30 the celebrations in honor of those who died during the war. So now that he has said it, I'm sure that it must have been a conversation among the governors, and they're probably going to do it. They may be coming late to the party, but they're arriving there.
Right. So real quickly, I want to talk a little bit about Igbo presidency. Is that still on the card? Because at the start of the year, before this violence, the conversation was on Igbo presidency, permutations here and there. All of a sudden, it's about violence now in the Southeast region. Is Igbo presidency still on the card? What are the conversations going on that we don't know about Igbo presidency? What are the possible candidates? Who are we looking at? How is this talk across the Niger going on? Are these candidates meeting people from the East? Could it be a Mogalu? Mogalu came out and said, I'm putting my heart in the ring yesterday. He's an Igbo man too. Could it tilt towards Mogalu? Because if you talk Igbo presidents now, the only person I'll say I've seen is Professor Mogalu, because he's declared.
Well, let's just put it this way. We belong to political parties. I belong to a political party, the People's Democratic Party. And there are ongoing conversations within the party. But let me address what you said about this violence and Igbo presidency. Look, Katsina has far more violence than the Southeast combined. Yet, we have a president from there. So when people start to make all this, we just say, what do you mean? There are just pockets of violence all over Nigeria. Does that mean that the president will not come from somewhere? So for anybody to make that argument, oh, there's violence there and therefore you should not go there, where is the place where there is no violence? None. So that is not an argument against it. What I know is that talks will go on within parties. When the parties now go for their conventions, those who want to be president will come, and then they will sell their ideas, and then they will, somebody will be chosen. I think that what we as Igbos ought to do, and which some of us are doing, is to engage all the actors within our parties and be saying, we think that this is the best way to go, to be able to assuage everybody's feelings and all that. And I think that Ezife, in his intervention, not just here, also in TVC News and all that, because it was the TVC one that I saw, and he continued to say, resolve this issue to help us feel,
Senator, on that note, Senator, on that note, we need to take a short commercial break, but stay with us. When we return, the conversation will continue. Welcome back to the Morning Show here on the Arise News Channel. Our guest is still Senate Minority Leader, Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe, made in Aba, as he titled his biography, his book of reflections. Anyway, it's good to still have you on the program. Very quickly, you were talking about Igbo presidency. I don't know whether you want to conclude on that before we take another question.
No, I had concluded. I said,
okay. Then
we
quickly
will deal with that within the context of our parties.
Okay. Then quickly, let me ask you about this constitutional amendment process. Many Nigerians are skeptical. Many groups have said it's an exercise in futility, and that what the National Assembly is organizing is just a jamboree, particularly as we have a duplication of efforts. The Senate organizing its own independent public hearings, the House of Representatives also organizing its own separately, driving up costs and, wasting resources on logistics that could have been harmonized. But in terms of the overall objective, do you think anything concrete, anything meaningful, anything acceptable to Nigerians, particularly those who are asking for a new constitution, a people's constitution, will come out of this current process?
Well, let me take you back to history, Ruben. If you recall, there was a time that when President Yaradua was indisposed and the vice president couldn't step up because the procedure at that time was that there had to be a letter from Mr. President. But we amended the Constitution to now give such provision now that if after 21 days there's no letter, automatically that kicks in. There is no amendment that will not lead to, what we want is a better union. And we, as the National Assembly, of which I'm part of it, we cannot on our own abrogate the Constitution that we were elected under. And so, the only thing we can do is to say, where are those contentious issues that we can take and deal with? And that is what is going on. And as for the number of consultations, I think the wider, the better. We ought to have every shred of opinion so that no one will turn around to say, I was not listening to, and therefore, whatever you're doing should not work. I think that we should give it a chance.
Right. I'm going to take you back to the 2023 elections because I have a question somebody asked me to ask you, and throwing out some specific names, people who have proved their political mettle, like Dr. Chris Ngige and Dr. Enyinnaya Onu, and I will add women, obviously, like Sharon Ikeazu, and obviously Honorable, one of your colleagues in the National Assembly, Honorable Onyeji Ocha. What about people like that who have actually proved themselves? What are their chances, do you think?
Well, they are in a political party. And when the political party now says that the gate is open for anybody who wants to be president, they ought to also make their requests. In fact, one of my people, one of the traditional rulers in my place, there is a person you see his hand on the counter that you put medicine when they used to go to dispensary in those days. So if you sit in your house and you don't want to come out to be a president, how are you going to be? So nobody can ask and tell us, oh, you're not doing that or you are doing that or something. Somebody with fire in his belly, just like Mohalu has done, has to come out and say, I want to be president, and do the necessary reach out and engagement that is necessary. No one area can make themselves president. You must be able to have a coalition all across Nigeria, and that is what the person needs to do.
Speaking of coalition and people coming out to this, there's talk. I mean, so let me start from here. The Constitution says that the political party must sponsor the candidate. That's what the Constitution says. So you have to come through a political party. You're not an independent candidate. And there are two major political parties. Yeah. It's almost a choice between two people, the APC and the PDP. A lot of governors are defecting. Southeastern governors are defecting and going to the APC because there's a talk about their bread being buttered there as regards Igbo presidency. The PDP, on the other hand, has not been able to make a definitive statement on zoning and where it's going to go to. What are the talks going on in the PDP now as regards what will emerge or who will emerge? Does the PDP have it? Or like they said, they were going to leave it open? So, and what are the Igbo senators doing in the PDP to ensure that the PDP makes it come their way?
Well, we are talking to each other. We are doing our best. And don't forget that the Igbo senators were just 15, and we form a large bloc within the PDP caucus. And so we will continue to engage with our friends. The point really is no party has said anything about zoning. APC also has not. If, as you say, some people feel that their bread is going to be buttered there, good luck to them. Let them go and struggle for it. And we will all be part of helping them to be able to achieve their aim. Our own is simple. I'm in my party, and I will follow within the way that we do and conduct our business in our party to be able to reach a particular end. If that end is Igbo presidency, it will be very, very good for us.
Because a lot of people are saying time is running out. I mean, Yaya Bello has gone to meet Chief Ezefe to talk to him about his presidential ambition, and that it might not be correct, but the media started to report that Chief Ezefe has even endorsed Yaya Bello. So a lot of people are asking, when will the Igbos come out? Because time is running out. We're in 2021. Next year, it's going to be almost showtime. I
don't think time is running out. I think that there's still a lot lot of time to be able to get people on your side if you're a very serious politician. And everybody is free to go around. And there are some that are overt, and there are some that are covert. And you really have no idea what is going on. But I know that there are a lot of discussions going on.
Okay, well, I'm going to take that question from another angle, and it's about defection. The PDP has been witnessing a gale of defections from the party into the APC. You represent Abia South Senatorial District, and one of the next governors that people have been saying is likely to move from the People's Democratic Party to the APC is the governor of your state, Ikpeazu, Governor Ikpeazu Okezie. And some of these governors, once they move like that, they will come around and say, well, once the governor moves, that's where everybody will go. So are we likely to see a situation where the Senate minority leader before 2023 may also move from the PDP to the APC in order to perhaps, flow with the tide in his own state in case the governor moves in the other direction? And what is the PDP doing to stem this tide, this gale of defections?
I do not think that there is a gale of defections. What you're seeing actually is people readjusting themselves. As for Abia State, I have been in contact with the governor of Abia, and he has given me repeated assurances that all these are mere speculation, that is going nowhere. And I can tell you, on my own, I will go nowhere. Nothing will take me out of PDP. But this is what we see going on. What we see going on is that governors are being wooed by the APC, and they're being told that, oh, don't worry, whatever you want, we will be able to give you. And they go in, and then they now find that the ground is not as level as they thought. And we're having a situation where governors go and then have to try to compel others to follow them. I mean, we're just seeing it happening recently. And people have said, we're not going with you. So I think that there's too much pressure. There's a lot of intimidation going on. They are being told that, oh, don't worry, we will win election again, we will write results, whatever you want, you will do it. Of course, it's not going to happen. INEC just has continued, and then the Electoral Act is coming that we're going to modify all those things, all the lacuna that has always been in our electoral management system. And I think that going forward, votes will continue to count much more than before. And so anyone who is a politician who wants to be able, must be with his people, and you go where your people want you to go. I don't see anybody in Abia State wanting to go.
Well, I mean, you've been...
I don't even want to mention the party.
Anyway, Tondo asked you a question earlier.
I don't think that is necessary. I'm sorry.
Well, Tondo asked you a question earlier about persons from the Southeast who could possibly run for the presidency. Well, you've been deputy governor, and you are a ranking member of the Senate, having been there since 2007. Are you yourself considering running for the presidency of Nigeria, possibly in the future, if you say you are not defecting from the party?
Do you want me to give you the typical Nigerian answer? I will go where God says I should go.
Or where your people ask you to go?
Or do you want me to say I will go where my people say I should go? But actually, in politics, you actually have to do what your people want. And that is the only thing that connects you to your people, and you don't depend on anybody else. And so when the time comes, my political journey will be made very public. I will not hide behind a finger. I will not say, let me stay this way. I will say, this is where I want to go. If it's the presidency, I will also say so.
Well, I was going to ask you if you're going to vie for a 5th term as a senator, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yes.
Is that an Igbo adage for wait and see?
Senators make very good presidents.
Okay.
Senators make very good presidents. We have Obama, we have Biden, and all that. So you can see that maybe we will get one from
I hope you can say the same of Nigerian senators. I hope you can say the same of Nigerian senators. But thank you very much, Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe, for joining us on the morning show.